Andersson is my name. I'm a study and careers advisor here at Malmö University. Thank you for having me here today. I hope that you all having a pleasant visit here in my beautiful, yet a bit windy hometown, Malmö. Okay, so recognition of prior learning according to Malmö University. Recognition of prior learning, this beautiful phenomenon, is used, well, the purposes within higher education in Sweden is, as we already talked about, I think, eligibility and crediting. I don't know if I always find the right words in English, but I think that you understand. And if I have done something that you don't understand, you'll have to ask me. But eligibility and crediting. And the two groups that are entitled to this in Sweden, if we look at our legal framework, is applicants and students. Malmö University has several years of experience when it comes to RPL. In the admissions process for eligibility, we have a fairly quality-assured process, I think. Regarding crediting, within some of our study programs, we work really good with that, and that's above all within the teacher's education. We also have some special assignments on governmental mandate, and that's also mostly within the teacher's education. And we also work a lot with self-assessment towards labor market, and that's through, for example, aspirantutbildningen, which is a program for students with a foreign academic degree. So there are a lot of people here today, colleagues of mine, that work with this and that I think could have given you a bit about their best practice. But today I will focus on what we do within the admissions process and also about new process structures that newly have been decided to be implemented here in Malmö. But first, a little bit about what experiences we have and what conclusions have been drawn since we have worked with the issue a couple of years. Yes, as we all know, the current refugee situation has brought life into recognition of prior learning throughout society. But I think that the refugee situation shouldn't be a prerequisite for this work. Instead, this work should be done for all possible target groups and is, on the contrary, a prerequisite for the refugee situation to develop positively in Sweden with regard to both integration and competence provision. As we all know, the validation process demands more time and resources regarding guidance, mapping, assessing, and it demands process structures for quality assurance and legitimacy. So, a bit about challenges. When I looked through my presentation yesterday, I thought perhaps I'm a little bit too pessimistic or negative. But I think that's because I'm so eager to clarify the challenges so that we work with the right things. Okay. There are challenges because I think that on operating level, generally the work isn't seen as part of the assignment of higher education institutions. There are exemptions, but this is generally seen, and that's a big problem. There is a lack of supporting structures. There is insufficient knowledge regarding work procedures, practices, about how to map and assess knowledge and proficiency obtained elsewhere than within higher educational institutions. There is no monitoring of work done within the assignment. And all of this has resulted in a low activity, uneven activity, a lack of equivalence or equality. Here I'm actually searching the word likvärdighet in Swedish. There's too little information to applicant students about the opportunities. More challenges. Resources haven't been earmarked locally at the institutions, although it's included in the funds, which has resulted in teachers, academic subject experts that are inevitable in the validation process, and others that are involved in the process often experience RPL as a new activity that is not being funded, which has resulted in it's really hard to motivate teachers and other involved to do the work when the work schedule is already cram full. More challenges. Due to the national resource allocation system, the universities lose performance-related funds when crediting, which is a problem for work that takes extra time, crediting on the basis of prior learning. Another important thing that also has been mentioned before, many groups in society, for example refugees with insufficient documents, need even more than what is within the assignment of higher education institutions. They need advance notice, assessment and information about possibilities for crediting even before being a student. And this is very obvious in our guidance cooperation project that we have here in southern Sweden between higher educational institutions and the Public Employment Agency, where we meet a lot of refugees. Okay, on the plus side, actions are being taken on a national level, and this is very, very important. Durable structures are to be built. We've heard about that. Monitoring is made possible. Yes, and the inflow of refugees has confronted society, I think. The competence must be utilized. Crucial system-related problems are being flagged by national delegation for validation. Lack of economic incentives and the need of assessment information on forehand. Actions are being taken by many other universities too, and that's really positive that there are things happening right now. Malmö University, we've worked with the admissions procedure and assessment for eligibility since 2009. And there we have an established and agreed process. There is validation guidance provided for applicants while they are working with text supporting the application. There is a very close cooperation between admissions department and study and career guidance department. Important. We have an admissions board with representatives from all faculties, and those representatives are assessors with competence. And here we deal with both individual matters and development work. There is a validation coordinator who is also a study careers advisor who has time for this development work. Practically, it's like this. The applicant describes in text his or her competence in relation to statements and using supporting instructions and questions. Even though the applicant is requested to describe experiences, focus is on what has been learned. Well, you know all about that, learning outcomes. The assessment validation is made in relation to the study program or course applied for. Competence standard. So I just took something from the instructions here for you to see. This is just a bit, but it shows what knowledge you need in the English language, what skills you need to benefit from courses and programs conducted in English here at Malmö University. So here you can see a lot of statements that the applicant should relate his or her proficiency and knowledge to when describing it. And the statements can also be used in a validation guidance interview. And the applicants also are being requested to describe what experience gave you the abilities. And well, you can see here, we tell them, try to be as specific as you can. And all types of documents that support the fact that you acquired the knowledge are of interest. That could be any documents, of course. You're also requested to write a summary from original longer text, and also, if possible, send in text in English that they produced in the occupations and experiences that they refer to. So that was a little bit about how we've worked since 2009 within the admissions process. But now in April, the Vice Chancellor here decided about a supporting structure for validation processes at Malmö University. And we're also applying for funding to implement the structure and using experience from that when building the national structure in Sweden. And those structures, they thrive to be durable, long-lasting, adaptable for all recognition of prior learning at the university, and adaptable for all applicants and students. So what is being clarified in the new supporting process structure? Well, that we have an established agreed process also for crediting, not only for eligibility. Roles, responsibility that are needed within those processes are clarified. And also what competence is needed to have those roles and those responsibilities. What mapping actually is about, or identifying proficiency and knowledge. What is assessment about? Very important part of the improvement of this work is that mapping will be made by specialists, by validation guidance specialists that are also study and career advisors. And the assessment will be made by teachers on the basis of that mapping. There will be a project group with all faculties represented for development work and inspiration and exchange of RPL practices. There will be seminars for development work. There's one planned in October already for teachers. And there will be, of course, a coordination throughout university regarding application forms, information instructions. And there will be monitoring of this implementation of the structure with regard to efficiency, change of workload for co-workers, etc. And also, what's important in this decision from the Vice Chancellor is that it's clarified that recognition of prior learning validation is part of the university's assignment. But we should continue to try to contribute to changes that are necessary on both the national, regional, and local level. Thank you.